Let's get into the top 3 suburbs to invest in Brisbane's Inner East. And I'm going to start with one that is actually, funny enough, right next to East Brisbane, and that suburb is Norman Park. So for those that don't know Norman Park, look, it's only about 4 or 5 k's from the Brisbane CBD. And I mean, it is actually in a riverfront location. So you do have properties that are similar to this, that actually do occupy a riverfront and a completely waterfront, massive mansions along there, and also up on the hill that are huge, massive mansions as well. You can see some that are like 3 and 4 stories up there, and that's not uncommon to see in the wealthier part of Norman Park. But Norman Park, really, like, its location is absolutely exceptional. So you can see where it is here. Funny enough, it's actually on a train line as well. It's full of parks as well that are really, I mean, the sporting capitals of sort of the inner east of Melbourne. So, I mean, really good for that as well. But it's predominantly a low density and owner-occupied family suburb. So most of these homes in Norman Park are owned by families with children that tend to not want to move out of the suburb. So it's very tightly held as well, which is really good. But I mean, if you wanted a suburb where there's lower density, where people will want to live in the future, and basically for everyone, Norman Park's the one. And a lot of the homes that don't flood, some do, but obviously you want to buy one that doesn't. Norman Park's very well priced at the moment too. It's only about 1.4 to 1.5 million, and that is very cheap for what it is. I mean, you can get like 3.5 to 4% yield here quite easily. I've picked up properties here for 1.2 before, believe it or not. That's in 2025, mind you. And I mean, literally, you're getting nearly 4% yield. You're getting like not $850 to $900 a week for that easily, like no problems at all. So really, really good place to buy in Norman Park in terms of investment in Brisbane's Inner East. Let's get into another one, and it, funny enough, is very close to Norman Park, and you'll see a graduation of a lot of suburbs being like that in Brisbane's Inner East, because it is a great area to buy, and that suburb is Seven Hills. Now, look, it's obviously called Seven Hills for obvious reasons. It's not like the Seven Hills in Sydney. That's a crap area to buy. Seven Hills is an exceptional area to buy in terms of Brisbane. I've even got data to suggest that homes that are not on main roads in Seven Hills have done around 10% capital growth long term. So that would be a top 20 performing suburb in the country in terms of that. But really, Seven Hills, again, is almost entirely detached homes, and it's mostly larger homes like this one you can see here. But what's driving really the growth in Seven Hills is the demographics of the suburb, and they are unbelievable in Seven Hills. This is one of the highest in all of Brisbane. So you can see median weekly household income, $2,888. If you're Asian, you'll probably like that because it's 888, which is good, like me anyway. But then you got your median monthly mortgage repayments of $2,700 a month. So median weekly household income's more a week than they have to pay a month in terms of monthly mortgage repayments, which is really good for the suburb's future, because it means people that live in the suburb also can afford to pay even more for what the suburb already is. But what I'd say to that as well is there's quite a few longer term residents here that either own the home outright or have very small mortgages. So the people that are buying in here are distorting this number and bringing it down, whereas the people that actually are buying to live here and don't own there yet actually earn a lot more money. It's probably more close to $3,500 a week. So those demographics are just incredible, especially for Brisbane. You wouldn't imagine somewhere in Queensland would have numbers like that, but Seven Hills actually does. Let's finish with the last suburb I think that's worth buying in Brisbane's Inner East in terms of my top 3, and that suburb is Coorparoo. And I know it sounds a bit funny, but this is how it's spelled, and that's how it is. So Coorparoo, again, is an Inner East suburb of Brisbane. It's right next to Greenslopes and right next to Camp Hill and Norman Park as well. So great little pocket. That's actually quite a large suburb. So it extends. So the inner part of Coorparoo is only about 4 k's from the CBD. The outer part is about 6. So it's quite a large suburb. So I mean, it doesn't don't get me wrong, the whole suburb performs quite really well, like about 9%, but your inner pocket will do even better than that. So that's where you want to buy. But you have a lot of homes like this in Coorparoo, and a lot of homes like this are actually owned by your professional workers in Brisbane CBD, and there's quite a few in the medical precinct as well. So a lot either will work at Greenslopes or Wollongabba or even Hurston as well. There's a lot of medical professionals that actually live in Coorparoo. So that actually increases the suburb median income quite a lot. And you'll see that here just Coorparoo's strong and rising demographics. So Coorparoo wasn't originally one of Brisbane's wealthiest suburbs. It was actually a very working class suburb right up to probably about 15 years ago when it really started to change. Now, you can see here you've got personal, family, and household income, and now it's every single one of those is literally at least, probably I'd say at least maybe 30% above the state average, and it's probably about 25% above the national average. Queensland has a little bit lower income than the national average, but that's only going to increase, you know, the suburb pricing and the actual demographics in the suburb, which is great for its long-term future. So that's what you want to look at when in terms of looking at Coorparoo. Great suburb to invest in, great family suburb too. I found properties in both, Coorparoo and Seven Hills for literally, like Coorparoo I found for right down to about 1.3. Seven Hills is a bit more expensive. I found some in Seven Hills for about 1.5 to 1.6, but it is a much more expensive suburb, so it does make sense. But I mean, you get really good rent in both of them, like 3.5% yield easy, sometimes to 3.8, funny enough, but really, really good suburbs to consider.